Heyo, I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another action figure review. In this episode, we're taking a look at a figure from the Vitruvian HACKS line from Boss Fight Studios. This is the Amazon Army, the Archer of Molpadia. I guess I'm saying that close to being right. Anyways, this comes on a nice little small card back here. Some pretty decent looking artwork there. On the bottom we've got the UPC code, and on the back we've got just a brief bio of some of the other products in the Vitruvian HACKS line. Very cool looking stuff here. I've not got a whole lot of these figures yet, but they looked interesting, so I picked a couple of them up to kind of start with to see how they work and feel and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. It is on a kind of a standard card back here, as I said before. We're just going to go ahead and slice this open with their handy dandy X-Acto knife all the way around. Some of these actually come with resealable cards, but this one is a standard kind of glued back one. But anyways, let's yank this thing out. So this is what the card art looks like without the figure. Pretty nice looking, but we're going to toss that to the side for right now. And we've got this little insert here just saying Amazon Army and that Archer of Molpadia. Limited edition Army Builder Series, so very cool. Toss that to the side here. This is, again, the female Archer. Amazon sounds about right. We've got a little bit of tape holding some of the accessories on, so let's go ahead and cut that tape. And I think there's tape. Nope, no tape there. That should do it. The figure comes out very easily. We've got a cool bow. Nice gold color. A couple arrows here. Well, 4 to be precise. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of the little hands popped out, so we've got an extra hand there. And a second hand. They like to pop all over the place there. So, and then we have a cool little figure stand. So that goes in the recycling bin with everything else. And we'll zoom in a little bit here, get a little closer to this figure here and see what's going on. So the Vitruvian HACKS are 3 3/4 or 4-inch figures, so they fit well in line with like the G.I. Joe line and things like that. But they're a little bit more detailed to a certain extent, and they're kind of built on the principle of customization. So you have, you know, lots of alternate hands and things like that. Let's, I guess, start here with the figure stand like we do for the G.I. Joe stuff. Traditional Boss Fight Studios logo there, 2-foot pegs. Not a whole lot else to say about that, but an interesting stand anyways. They work really well for what they are. One thing I'll note is that the foot pegs are sometimes a little too big for some of these figures, but we'll find that out here in a moment. Next up, let's take a look at the bow. A very nice kind of gold color. Not a lot of detail work on this thing, but a little bit there. So you can see in the wrapping on the handle and some of the intricate work on the very ends of the bow. No string or anything, but you could attach one very easily. And then we do have 4 of these arrows. Some nice detail on the feathering. The kind of metal tip barb thing there. Beyond that, there's not really a whole lot. There's not a quiver or anything to put the arrows in, so you just kind of have to keep up with them, I guess. You can put a couple in her hand, but that's kind of it. So, yeah. Alternate hands. I don't really know the difference here. There's there really isn't a lot of difference here, to be honest with you, in the two different hands here. They look to be the same to me. So, yeah. So, interesting, but kind of anticlimactic there. They do look like the same hands. So, alright, well that said, let's look at the figure itself. Some really nice detail work here, and I may have to dim the lights a little bit here to see if we can get a little bit better detail showing up here. Maybe blowing this thing out, but a fairly decent head sculpt here. Some nice detail work in the hair. Really nice kind of golden armor. Some nice details in those as well. I do like that shoulder pauldron. Very intricate little workings there. Cool looking leather straps there. Some nice buckles. Nicely detailed skirt. You can see kind of the leather working in there. So that's really interesting how they got that level of detail in there. And then traditional shoes we've seen in the past. And some interesting armor on there as well. So nothing too extravagant there, but fairly decent anyways. As far as articulation goes, the head, well, let's start with the hair. The hair flips around however you want it to go, so that's kind of cool. But once you get that out of the way, the head does spin 360 degrees. You've got plenty of up and down motion as well as side head tilt action going on there, so very cool. Standard ball and swivel at the shoulder joints. Standard ball and swivel at the elbow joints. And it looks like just actually it's a swivel and a rocker at the wrist. So I guess that is the actual difference here, is the rocker action in these hands. So the alternate hands rock this way, and the ones there swivel that way, if that makes sense. But very interesting anyways. It's kind of an interesting way of doing it. So we do have the standard kind of rib cage action feature there. Plenty of ab crunch. It does kind of swivel back and forth, so nice work there. We've also got a waist twist. It's a little stiff on this one, but it does work. We have traditional plastic T-hook joints there at the waist and hips. We've also got so it swivels all the way around like that, fully open like that, fully goes forward, goes to about right there backwards. Not too big a deal. We do have a double knee joint here, and we have a kind of weird rocker swivelly joint at the ankle, but it works really well for what it is. And that looks like that's all of the articulation. The armor here on her legs is a very soft plastic. You can see that bending all the way around, so that's interesting anyways. That skirt there is very pliable. It moves around very easily, so it won't get in your way. And yeah, this other armor is kind of just sitting on there, so you can kind of move it around if you want to customize it a little bit more. And you can pop these joints off to remove her armor completely if you want to. So that's very interesting anyways. It's a nice figure. As far as scale goes, we've got a G.I. Joe 25th anniversary beachhead here. So you can see it's approximately the same size. So that 4-inch scale or 3 3/4 inch height. So very nice. It works in really well with that particular 1/18 scale action figure line for whatever it is that you're doing. And I apologize if you hear some background noise here. There's somebody that's evidently doing a lot of practicing with their rifle. Anyways, a very interesting looking figure. As far as the accessories go, kind of stick the bow in her hand. Have to kind of move it around a little bit to get it to latch on, but once you do, it stays in place and no fear of issues right there. So that is cool. And then you can grab the arrow and stick in her other hand somehow. We'll do it this way. Something about like that. And kind of get it to stay in place and notch the arrow and etc, etc, etc. Not the greatest accessories in the world for this particular one. And again, I do wish that there was a pouch. Well, I guess there actually is here. So now that I'm looking at it, there is this little notch here in the back of her skirt. That is just for that. So you can take these little arrows and stick them in there. And we'll go ahead and do that real quick. See if all 3 additional arrows will fit. That works really nicely, actually. So a little arrow pouch. A little bit too small, or the arrows a little bit too much, but it looks really nice there. So I should probably reverse the hands here and put the bow in her left hand and the arrow in the right hand, but you get the idea here. It's very interesting, and I'm actually really impressed with this particular figure. Again, the accessories are not quite what I had hoped for, but they do the job admirably. No big complaints there. I like the level of detail in the figure. And now that I found that little notch thing in the back of her skirt, much more happy with that. Very cool. And I do like the paint details and the paint apps there. The gold color looks really nice. So all in all, it's a pretty decent looking figure. Let's go ahead and test out this base here. Like we've said in the past, a couple of these figures, they don't work really well. The little peg holes are just a little bit too big. Sorry, the pegs are a little bit too big for the peg holes. Let's try this again. And it actually works. It's still just a little bit too big there. As you can see, doesn't really fit whatsoever, but if you have one of the G.I. Joe 25th anniversary figures, they work a whole lot better. Those pegs are just a little bit smaller, so the figures actually fit on them a lot easier, generally speaking. There we go. So like that, it works a whole lot easier. So the Boss Fight Studio stands aren't the best in the world, but it's a nice try anyways. The figure though, I'm really liking it, so I'm going to recommend this particular figure. It's got a small price tag on it. I think it was run about $14 for this particular figure. Some of the other figures run about $19 or so. So, you know, your mileage may vary, of course, but for about $14, it's not bad. It's not really as good as price-wise as something like a mass-produced figure, but considering we don't see many 3 3/4 line in retail anymore, it's nice to have this as an alternative. And for the 14-ish price point, it's pretty decent. So, yeah, you may want to go pick this thing up. It's kind of, whether or not you like this particular style of fantasy figures or not is kind of going to be your deciding factor here, but I'm really digging it myself. So yeah, I'm recommending it. That's all the time we've got for today, so thanks for watching. Drop some comments down below. Let us know what you think of this archer from the Vitruvian HACKS line from Boss Fight Studios. What do you think about the particular figure itself? Do you like the armor? Do you like the actual fantasy-themed stuff? Anything else that you can think of? You know, leave those comments down below. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you're digging it. a thumbs down if you're not digging it. Share with your friends if that's the thing that you do. If not, we'll see you around here next time. So until next time, I said next time a lot, so next time.